So I reviewed your submission, and I want to point out a handful of things that I think is essentially you need to improve on. The first thing is the professionalism across it. This isn't just a standard PowerPoint, okay? You need to be a little more thought into it. The first example is the title page, okay? The name of the product, what did you do, the instructor's name, the date, the semester. All this stuff seems futile right now, but it's very, very imperative. And if you submitted a bid or any other document, you'd have that information to your employer. So you need to remove any words that you have them, okay? I think the joke is how many words are in a picture is 1,000 words. So if you have 2 pictures, so on and so forth, okay? So you want to remove all text as much as you can, and that help out on the redundancy, okay, to remove all the dead space that you have. In terms of your blueprints, okay, you need a top, front, and a side all drawn to scale, okay? Those are orthographic. Now the one up in the corner is going to be your isometric, okay? So the isometric does not need to be filled, okay? So it just needs to have lines. It doesn't need to have the hidden lines, but that's just for 3D representation and to give the manufacturer a visual what they're looking at, okay? It does not need to be drawn to scale, and it's literally just put up there for that purpose, okay? So keep that in mind. Across everyone, it looks like everyone's using standard sheet size B, which is to emphasize the fact that everyone's sticking with the defaults, okay? So you need to go back and you'll realize some of the parts are a lot more better displayed if you put them in a different sheet size, except for the bigger ones, okay? The sheet size B should only be used for the really, really small pieces, okay? Template block down there, that needs to be filled out. There's a lot of information that I don't see in there. At the same time, that needs to be filled out with the right font, the right text size. This needs to be professional, okay? This doesn't need to be thrown in there, okay? I think dimension size, dimension spacing, dimension leader points, all that's default. That needs to be changed, okay? That needs to be in perspective. When you look at it, can you read it? Can you see the gaps in between the dimension lines? Do you know what I'm referring to? Hopefully so, okay? Those need to be not redundant, okay? They need to be specific to the part. Typically, I address the top one, and then the front and the side, and then reduce dimensions right. You don't need to have any duplicate dimensions, okay? And if it looks good for you, it's going to look good for the person that's potentially reviewing it or making it, all right? So I feel like if you have any kind of cylindrical thing and it's symmetrical, you just need to put one. You don't need to put 2 of the same thing in terms of top or so profile. There are some things that you need to have cross-sections in. If it is not symmetrical, you need to use a cross-section to cut that in half to determine what that next profile view is. Essentially, when you cut it, it's like a pie. You're going to look to the left, you're going to look to the right. It's going to give you a different idea and definitely a different perspective of what needs to be shown in the blueprint. And I think the last thing would just be removing all the dead space. I think every table or any information that's taken, it doesn't need to be a screenshot. It needs to be put in a table in your own context, and all that stuff doesn't need to be redundant neither, okay? I think the biggest thing is everyone just needs to get an idea that it's a portfolio that's a professional, and professionally you're not going to have anything redundant. It's going to be as precise as possible because obviously that's what you want to submit, aka you want to get a raise and do your job the best you can. So as always, I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.